Check, check. Check, 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 check.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Verona Board of Education public meeting. It's December 7th, 2021, and we're calling the meeting to order at 7:07. If everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reading of the meeting notice. This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the open meeting session that the Verona Board of Education passed a resolution at its annual reorganization meeting held on January 5th, 2021. The meeting set forth the schedule of its regular meetings, which resolution was within 7 days of passage. The schedule was sent to the Verona Cedar Grove Times, the Star Ledger, the Township of Verona, and the VEA. Postings of this meeting setting forth the time, location, and agenda were posted at the Verona Board of Education office and on the Verona Public Schools District website. The Verona Board of Education operates under a consent agenda format. Any board member has the right to have an item pulled to be voted upon or discussed separately. Copies of tonight's agenda and resolutions have been made available to the public and the press. Mr. Cruz, will you please do a roll call for attendance?
Sure. Mr. Allworth. Here. Mr. Day. For the record, Mr. Day is absent today. Mrs. Drappi.
Here.
Mrs. Fresky.
Here.
Mrs. Prisco.
Here.
We have quorum. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And tonight we do have a presentation. We have Ms. Laura Palmarezzi, our athletic director and director of special programs, and she's going to do the Fall Sports Awards.
Good evening. I'm honored to be standing here tonight as athletic director to present to you the accomplishments of our student athletes with a recap of our fall sports season. Over 45 of our student athletes received all conference honors. The girls volleyball season concluded with an 18-9 record. They finished with their second Group 1 North 2 state sectional championship in 2 years. They finished third in the entire state in Group 1 schools. Senior Ashley Duhaney was chosen to play at the NJSCA Girls Volleyball Senior All-Star Game, as well as our own Coach Ryan Brown to coach one of the All-Star teams. Patricia Rakova, Ashley Duhaney received first team honors. Sydney Aiello, second team. Caitlin Caffrey and Fernanda Webster received honorable mention. The girls tennis team won the Essex County Tournament consolation bracket for the first time since 2015. And advanced to semifinals of North 2 Group 1 state sectionals. For the Liberty Division, Emma Derdarian received first team. Margot DaCosta received second team. Honorable mention was Kate Hunt and Madison Lipinski. The field hockey team improved in only their second year as a varsity program. They won the first round of the county tournament by upsetting the higher seed. Ava Perry, Mary Kate Daughtry were first team. Amanda Cavallo and Danny Imbriano were second team, and Sarah Noting received honorable mention. The girls varsity soccer team went 11-6 this season and finished 6-1 in the Liberty Division for second place. The team amassed 65 goals, 49 assists for 179 points this season. The team's leading scorer was senior Grace Madigan with 27 goals and 4 assists. She received Offensive Player of the Week on September 22nd, and in the SEC conference, she was first team. She received her 100th career point on October 21st. And just a few hours ago, she was named second team all Group 1. The team fell to New Providence 2-0, which was ranked number 1 in their group. Grace Madigan, Brooke Reinecker received first team. Emma Zalewski, Victoria Niziolek, Ella Matheson, second team. Ella Moore and Amelia Niziolek were honorable mention. The boys cross country team placed 5th in the American Division, 7th overall in highly competitive Essex County, 3rd in North 2 Group 1 state sectionals, and qualified for group championships. The team won sophomore and senior team titles at the Essex County Invitational. Freshman boys team were 3rd at the season opener Frosh Invitational and 4th at the Essex County Coaches Invitational. Ian Zalewski received first team all division, first team all Essex County, and won 2 invitationals as a sophomore. Milo Atal received second team all division, first team all Essex County, and qualified for state meet of champions. Connor Robinson and Noah Hayden were honorable mentions. The girls cross-country team finished the season with a 9-1 record, finished second place at state sectionals, and qualified for group championships. At the Essex County Coaches Invitational, they placed first in the senior division. Anna Lee Ying was all Essex County, first team SEC, and was in the top 10. The second team all SEC was Jessica Day, Cara Dunphy, Catherine Rapoli, and Lily Nackbauer. Honorable mention was Megan Keneally and Lucy Hogan. Our cheer team competed and placed second in the Liberty Division for best stunting at Bloomfield's Cheer for a Cure. This yearly event helped raise $5,000 to donate to the Food Bank of New Jersey. The cheerleading team also sponsored a Cheer for a Cure event where cheerleaders of all ages from Caldwell, Verona, and Cedar Grove came together to help raise money for breast cancer awareness and Minette's Angels. Our football team finished 4-5 overall and 3-3 in the SFC National White Division. Senior Dan Vecchio was the recipient of the Super Football Conference's 2021 Young Man of the Year Award. This award is given to a player who excels in the area of selflessness, creating a positive team environment, and is in good academic standing. Dan received a plaque at our last regular season game at Shabazz and will be recognized at MetLife Stadium on January 10th. Just in, he was also invited to attend a Jets game on December 26th. Senior Kale Zabrowski broke 4 school records, passing touchdowns, completions, passing yards, and career wins. The passing touchdowns was a 20-year-old record that was broken. Kale Zabrowski, Brody Neal, Dan Vecchio, James Haveron received first team. Joe Petro, Ben Mackey, Alex Rodriguez were second team, and Derek Bernardino received honorable mention. Our boys soccer team had a very successful season, finishing 9-7-2. They were an ECT quarterfinalist and a sectional semifinalist and took second place in the Liberty Division. 6 players were named to the All Liberty team, 7 to the All Essex County team, and 3 to the NJ Soccer Coaches Association All-Star team. Nicholas Handler and Christian Dispatchy received first team. Andrew De La Fara and Riley Ying, second team. Alex Jean and Marcus Benninghoff received honorable mention. Our winter season is underway. Swimming and ice hockey already kicked off and started their competition. Basketball, winter track, and wrestling are beginning their scrimmages now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Palmarezzi. That is really very impressive, and congratulations to all of our athletes. It's awesome. Does anybody have any questions or comments in regard to Mrs. Palmarezzi?
Yeah, I just want to say, thank you, Mrs. Pomerantzi, for your presentation, and congratulations to all of our fall athletes. We have the opportunity to celebrate students, and it's wonderful that so many of our student athletes, should I say, are really excelling in all areas. And coupled with the presentation that we had at our last meeting, there are some wonderful things happening, and children are doing some outstanding work here in Verona. So thank you.
Excellent. Next on our agenda is the superintendent's report. I'm going to turn that over to Dr. Fernari.
Good evening. This evening, my superintendent's report is going to focus on the work that we've been engaged in regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this presentation is intended to give the board and the public a sense of where we've been, where we are, and where we hope to go, creating a sense of belonging through dignity and respect. So the infographic that's on the screen right now gives you a slight understanding of what we mean when we say diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity is diversity of our people and our perspectives. There is not only room at the table for everyone, but we are expecting ourselves to be part of that thinking. As far as equity is concerned, equity must be embedded in our policies and our practices on a daily basis. And inclusion means that all voices and all visions are part of the work we do every day. The Verona Public Schools engaged in a strategic planning process, and we have a strategic plan in place for the 2018 through 2023 school years. The second strategy in that strategic plan reads, uphold a healthy and respectful school culture consistent with our core values. Under this strategy, result number 2 says that we will integrate experiences that value diversity, promote cultural understanding, and consider multiple perspectives. During the strategic planning work, there were core values that were identified, and these have been in place since the beginning of our work, your work, shall I say. I wasn't with you at the time, but you identified integrity, accountability, respect, teamwork, creativity, resilience, passion, and wellness as the core values that this district would base its work upon. With regard to our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, a committee was formed and the district began the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion as part of the current strategic plan. Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee was formed and began discussions that led to the implementation of a number of initiatives. In response to feedback from students and other members of the school community, the DEI, or Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, recommended that the district seek assistance of an outside expert in the field to assist with this important work. So what have we done so far? What have we accomplished? So the district has broadened its curricular offerings and educational experiences to ensure multiple perspectives. This is work that has begun, but it will continue and still has a way to go. The district has offered dual enrollment opportunities with universities to our high school students in courses on topics such as racial, cultural, and identity, and multicultural topics. The district has also populated all of our school libraries with diverse resources, such as books about diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as books by authors like Jacqueline Woodson, Monica Clark Robinson, and Kwame Alexander. The district formed the Verona Public Schools Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Staff members from each school building, as well as community members, met over the course of several meetings in spring of 2021 to begin a conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion in our school community. The district also instituted book clubs for the staff and for the administration. And as an example, books that were read were How to Be an Anti-Racist by X. Kendi and Biased, Uncovering the Hidden Prejudice That Shapes What We See, Think, and Do by Jennifer Eberhard. The district also joined the Kane University Diversity Council. The district has conducted searches for a consultant to help us to identify next steps that fit the needs of the Verona Public Schools. The district has also subscribed to NEMNET, which is a national diversity recruitment and consulting firm. And there's been professional development partnering with Learning for Justice in their program facilitating critical conversations. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee initially identified several areas of focus for this work. They are professional development and curriculum and instruction and assessment, educational equity and school climate and culture, and community outreach and hiring and recruiting practices. With all of these things that have gone on, we still have questions that are very important that we must ask ourselves. They include, what does an environment that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive really look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What are we doing right now that makes people feel left out, left behind, not seen, or not heard? How far are we from where we are to where we want and need to be? And finally, what is our goal and how do we reach it? During the time that I have been with you, I've been doing a lot of listening. And the things that I hear in many conversations, in classrooms, in meetings, led us to putting words together that may form what we would like to call our overarching goal for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that is the Verona Public Schools goal for diversity, equity, and inclusion is to match our structure, procedures, and actions with our purpose, vision, and core values to create an environment of belonging for all students and for our entire school community. We've also crafted some we will statements. We will reflect on our current practices in order to make necessary change so that all members of our school community feel valued. We will identify organizations with whom we will partner to help us to ensure that our work is truly focused on achieving the things we say are important to us. We will strive to listen, understand, collaborate, and grow, thereby building trusting, respectful relationships. We will work as part of a consortia in discovering research-based strategies that help us to continue to grow into a place where diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging are evident in all we do. We will understand that this work is not easy and that it will take time to become part of the fabric of who we are. So what are some next steps that we've identified? The first is that we have joined the New Jersey Consortia for Excellence and Equity. It's a program that's led by the University of Pennsylvania Graduate School of Education and the New Jersey Association of School Administrators. The workshops in which we are going to engage are listed here, and these are not one single workshop for each topic. They are multiple. For example, the first workshop, Constructing the Innocent Classroom, Dismantling Racial Bias for Our Children of Color. There are 4 sessions with that workshop. Creating Democratic Classrooms, Engaging Student Voice, and Taking Informed Action. That is another multi-session workshop. And finally, Wonder Words, Using the Power of Language to Help Students Learn and Thrive. We've also decided that it would be prudent for us to create a request for proposal or an RFP to identify experienced experts in the field to guide our next steps with regard to diversity, equity, and inclusion using the following deliverables. We expect our consultant to work collaboratively with us, with our DEI committee, with our administrators and staff members. We expect our consultant to meet with leaders, the superintendent, the diversity coordinator, and facilitators to discuss what the district has accomplished to date in terms of school culture and climate, as well as hiring, recruiting, and retainment of staff. We also expect our consultant to review school culture and climate information and data, hiring practices, and retainment of staff, outlining methods such as conducting interviews, focus groups, and surveys with a variety of our stakeholders. We expect that our consultant or consultants will submit an evaluation report with specific feedback for school culture and climate and for hiring, recruiting, and retainment of staff, including recommendations that will provide a better understanding and clear vision of the present district environment. We expect our consultant to be engaging in ongoing, consistent communication with the DEI committee and the superintendent of schools to ensure smooth implementation of the work plan. We also expect our consultant will meet with the DEI and the superintendent of schools throughout the project to share feedback and recommendations. And we expect a formal presentation of results, which will be shared at a Board of Education meeting to be determined by the committee and the superintendent and the board. We have a timeline that we've designated for this work. The request for proposal is in its final draft stage, so we have a December 21 date for that creation of the request for proposal. We've already joined, as I mentioned, NJCEE Northeast. And the first workshop, as I mentioned earlier, the first workshop is going to be held on December 14th. And those workshops will run through the end of the school year. We expect the consultant to be identified by February of 2022. We will be attending workshops provided by NJCEE, and those of us that attend those workshops will turnkey the information to district administrators and staff between December 2021 and June 2022. We will work with the consultant on diversity, equity, and inclusion and initiatives such as data gathering, analysis, making improvements to program and processes from February to June 2022 and into the future. So as you can see, based on the slides that I've presented to you, this is not a one bucket aspect of work. This is a multifaceted approach. In order for us to make progress in the area of diversity, equity, inclusion, in order to bring that sense of belonging, we will be working with the consultant. We'll be part of the NJCEE consortia, which the work will be embedded into turnkey of the things that we do with staff and administration. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee and their work is another facet. Within the DEI, we've identified 6 subcommittees that were in place as of last spring. Those subcommittees will be reached out to. Mr. Miller will be taking care of that with regard to next steps. And the consultant will also be key in making sure that the DEI subcommittees are part of our work process. Student voice is going to be a critical part of all of this work, and also professional learning for all staff. So with these prongs in place, we're expecting to make some significant progress both this year and moving on into the future. I want to make sure that everybody understands that this is not something the school district is going to engage in on its own. This takes a partnership, and we want to thank all of you who will be engaged in this work with us for that partnership. We have a quote that I want to leave you with. Diversity is about all of us. It is about us having to figure out how to walk through this world together. I'm going to leave you with my contact information as well as Mr. Miller's, Dr. Miller's. He is our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Coordinator. And Mrs. Fresky, if the board has any questions, please.
Thank you, Dr. Fenari. I just want to thank you for the presentation. This definitely is a conversation that's happening among board members. It's happening out in the community. The town council members are working on it as well. They have a committee going. We've been in touch with them to try and see what areas that we could partner up and overlap, so nobody's reinventing the wheel. And it is the way we approached our health and wellness as a whole community input across a lot of stakeholders is how we want to approach this. And will there be missteps? Have there been missteps? Absolutely. Will we course correct and listen to every voice and take everything into consideration? Absolutely. Some of the work that we have done as well that wasn't mentioned was back in February. New Jersey School Boards Association we invited Mr. Vince DeLucia to come and do training at one of our public meetings, and that training was on inherent biases and how to recognize that in ourselves, which it was really a good training. I might reach out to him again and see if he has other sessions that he would be able to do. And I also feel like this partners very well with our social emotional learning, the work that Dr. Moriello is doing with health and wellness. It's all attached. None of these things are in isolation. So I really appreciate all the feedback that we've been getting, and we're all in it together. So thank you so much. Thank you very much. Do any other board members have any questions or input?
I do. Thank you, Mrs. Fresky. I want to thank Dr. Fenari for your leadership on this. I think having a really solid plan and a timeline in which we should move forward is precisely what we need right now. And that also, holds the district accountable for making sure that these things are met. I want to thank Dr. Moriello and Dr. Miller, and as well as the teachers who have volunteered so far for all of their work on the DEI committee. It's very, very hard work, and you guys have showed no signs of slowing or stopping, and I appreciate you for that. So thank you for that.
Mr. Allworth and Mrs. Prisco, do you have any questions? The only other question I did have was with the workshops, who is going to be able to attend those? Who's that open?
So what we've done, because it's a small group that attends, so Dr. Miller and I and the DEI facilitators
Mhm.
will attend the workshops, and then it'll be our responsibility to come back to the district and turnkey. So let me just explain a little bit about how some of these workshops work. The presenter obviously is going to work with us and share information, but these are work sessions as well. So what happens is during part of each workshop, the district teams network with other district teams from the other school districts that are part of the consortia. And so we get to network and get ideas and talk about these topics in depth with those outside of ourselves. And then another portion of the workshop, there are breakout sessions where our team will be working on a district plan for future work on each of these topics. So it's very layered. And then we have the opportunity to come back to the district and bring that to our staff and to the rest of our administrators.
That's great. And the other districts that are in this, is it limited to Essex County? Is it open to this? Is it state consortium?
So these are statewide. And what happens is because this project is a statewide project, they are regionalized. So there's a Northwest section. We are in the Northeast section. There's a Central Jersey and South Jersey section. So as far as this work is concerned, this is why the New Jersey Association of School Administrators is partnering with UPenn, because it's something that we believe is a New Jersey centric project that can benefit all districts. And then there are also, I know New Jersey School Boards also has some work in this area that's going on. So we're going to try and tap into all of the different areas that we can to make sure that we're not missing any information that could possibly be helpful to us.
Yeah, and I think it's great because the more we reach out and we're out of our own, you step out of your own way.
Sure.
You just get a lot more input and perspective on it. So thank you for spearheading that. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, then we are going to move on the agenda to the business administrators report. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Cruz.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just have one quick update tonight as a follow-up to last meeting on tonight's board agenda. There's a resolution number 17 to approve the lease purchase of 2 buses and 42 computers. Through the request for quote, RFQ, it was a process done with the Hunterdon County Educational Service Commission. We selected US Bank to finance the lease purchase in the amount of $264,905.32. This is a 4-year payment schedule at the rate of 1.6698%. As mentioned in last meeting, we're purchasing a 24-passenger bus to replace one of our aging buses used by special education. And the other is a replacement of our large, currently a large 54 diesel engine bus. It's going to be replaced with a gas 54 passenger bus used by our athletics and field trips. The computers will replace one of the computer labs at VHS, and it's also going to provide the computers needed to start the gaming club. The cost for the small bus is $57,050. The large bus is $180.80, and the computers is totaling $106,456.98. The fee for the Hutchinson County Educational Service Commission is $1,324. And the total finance charged by US Bank after the 4 years is going to total $5,843.88. This concludes my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Do any board members have any questions for Mr. Cruz in regards to that? Nope. Okay, thank you. And then we're going to go into our committee reports. Did athletics meet?
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Freshy. We did meet. Mrs. Pomerazzi did report out on all the student athletes for the fall season, and I would like to congratulate all of our athletes for such an amazing season that they've all had. And I also would like to congratulate our senior athletes for if they're done with fall sports, obviously they're done with fall sports, but if they're done with sports in general, wishing them all the best as they continue on if they play in college at the college level. But I know it's a hard thing for seniors when it's their last game of whether it's football, soccer, field hockey, whatever. It's tough. It's tough for the parents too. So congratulations to all of them on such a great season. One other thing I would like to report out on was a volleyathon that was done, and it was held, Angela Salisbury and Trish Hemsley, wonderful teachers here at VHS. They spearheaded it with the students, and it was the staff and the students playing against each other. I heard it was a great turnout and something that the students really enjoyed. And they raised about $400. $200 went to student council, and $200 went to Share Our Strength, which is No Kid Goes Hungry. So I think they're going to try and do that again some other time, or maybe do something different, but it was well received. So kudos to them for taking that and running with it. And also for our school nurse, Dina, and Jay, our athletic trainer, they were there helping out on their time, making sure everyone stayed healthy. And one other thing on the agenda is our field trips, which is we're voting on for the Model UN Washington DC trip is scheduled for February 17th with Mr. Moore. I believe about 14 students will be attending that. And anything else, Mr. Allworth?
I just also wanted to congratulate all the students. I went to a number of sporting events over the fall, and it was just great seeing all the athletes out there being so successful and just being out playing again. And we really have a spectacular athletic program, and it's great to see them out doing it.
Thank you. Athletics. Did education and special education committee meet
Yes,
as
we
well?
met yesterday. First, we have a first reading for two policies. It's the two I meant over at the last meeting that we had pulled, and now we're actually doing the reading, but it's the sexual harassment of students policy that I talked about last meeting, and the safety plan for healthcare settings and school buildings about the school nurses and how COVID-19 is going to affect them. Again, I went over that at the last meeting, but we're going to do the first reading tonight. The next curriculum council meeting will be on Wednesday, December 15th at 3 o'clock. Through Google Meet. They're going to discuss revising the elementary progress reports for next year, map growth scores, professional development updates, and some curriculum updates. Dr. Fenari covered the diversity education and inclusion committee. Up for approval tonight is an elementary math coach, which I know we've wanted to get for a number of years, and we can through a grant where through the ESSER funds, we're going to be able to get that. The coach is up for approval tonight, so hopefully that will go through, but this is definitely something that's very good for our elementary math program. The MAP growth assessments were mailed out on Friday. You should have received them. If not, you should get them in the next day or so. I know I got mine. We will get we should be receiving the printed individual student results in early December for the Start Strong tests, and those scores will be reported out at a future meeting, probably in early January. December's the last month to complete the first round of observations for our staff, and that is going on right now. Math professional development with Bill Jackson and Glenn Stevenson will be held December 15th, 16th, and 17th. New teacher academy for new staff occurred last Thursday, and they discussed working through first-year challenges, which is always tough. First year of teaching is tough for everybody. On the special services side, the ESL, there's a new state survey and reporting. This is brand new, and they're going to do that in the homeroom. That'll help get that program that are organized. There was a CPAC meeting last night, and they were discussing the public CPAC, which is going to be on January 24th at 7 o'clock. It's going to be live streamed, and they're going to ask for questions in advance. And if you come, you can discuss as well. But that's how that is going to go. So that's going to be January 24th. Paraprofessionals, we are always interviewing for that. All positions in the district are filled right now, but there's always need for more paraprofessionals moving forward. So we're interviewing to keep those ready to go. And with our district mental health presentations that have been going on, we are going to partner up with Cedar Grove, and this should hopefully help improve some of the attendance at these presentations, and the two towns can work together to try and get more people attending the presentations, because they're really, really great presentations, and they need as many people at them as we can. Did I miss anything?
No, thank you, Mr. Allworth, for your last Ed Committee report. I think the only other thing I wanted to add is that Dr. Moriello reported out to us that the school counselors have already met and are continuing to meet throughout this month just to talk about re-entry back into school in January after the long break and how they can best support students, as I think they're starting to they sort of realized as school rolled on that behaviors were becoming a little concerning. Students seem to be struggling, and not everybody, but some students seem to be struggling a little bit more with kind of getting back into school, and how can we best support students within the district to make sure that now that they're going back home for 2 weeks, how can we best serve them when they come back in to make sure that it goes as smooth as possible?
And just to clarify, because our meeting was at 4 o'clock and then I had that CPAC meeting later on that night, that meeting on January 24th, that will be live streamed and also Zoom, so that we can go live comment and answering question for that.
So Moriel, the January 24th, that's another one in the speaker series?
No,
Oh.
that's that flyer will be coming out later on. That's the same week. In that week, January 24th is for our public CPAC meeting. So our special education parent advisory committee, it's a question and answer with me. If they have any questions of what's going on, we'll talk about what the role of the CPAC is and those type of things.
Understood. Thank you. Are there any questions in regard to the education committee report? If not, did facilities meet?
Yes, we did. I'll take that since Mr. Day is not here. Much to report out on, though, really, just regarding the HVAC project. Forest is 50% complete. They are just working on, they finished the first floor and second floor, or they're on the second floor working, and then they'll go to finish at FM Brown. And pretty much that'll be completed. And they will close out all the documents. They should be sent out sometime this week. And then during the winter break, they will be in the schools doing any punch list items while the schools are vacant. And then hopefully we will be done with all of the HVAC projects in the schools. Did I miss anything, Dr. Fenari, or did I? That was it. It was a short meeting.
Thank you, Mrs. Prisco.
You're
Are
welcome.
there any questions in regard to facilities? No. And then the last committee report is finance. Do you want to take that, Mrs. Jaffe?
I can take that. Mr. Cruz already went over the lease financing for the 2 buses and the computers. We also discussed the employee dental contribution, moving from the Chapter 78 rate to the Chapter 44 rate, and updating the contribution and what date that should be effective. The purchasing manual has been updated, and Mr. Cruz We'll be conducting training with all administrators and admin assistants. I guess that was today. And that's just to ensure there's proper controls and practices are standardized and they're being followed top to bottom, left to right for all purchasing done in the district. And that was it.
I do want to say thank you for the purchasing manual. I actually read it. It's, it's really awesome. So I think this is an awesome opportunity to have with the new auditor that we engaged with last year, having new business administrator, you're building out your department and really getting the internal practices and internal controls into place, because that was one of the areas that the auditor said that we can use some improvement on. So thank you, Mr. Cruz, for the work that you've done in that area so far. And let me see, I don't think you missed anything. I think you had everything. The audit is wrapping up. I think that was the only other thing. So we could expect the audit report to the public in January. So January 25th will be the public report out from the auditor on our audit that they finished up in December. And that is it for our committee. At this point in the meeting, we're going to open up to public comments on agenda action items. So if anybody has any comments on the resolutions that we'll be voting on, you could please come to the podium. We will need your name, address, and please identify the resolution that you're commenting on. And public comment is limited to 3 minutes. And is there anybody who wants to speak on the resolutions?
Superintendent's report
No, anything that we're voting on tonight, anything that's in the resolutions.
in general.
In general, that is at the end.
So we have to sit here for the whole meeting? or
Yes, you do.
and
And please pull your mask over your nose. Thank you. Are there any comments on the action items? Okay, so there's no public comments on agenda items. We're going to move on to discussion items. Does anybody on the board have anything, old business or new business, that they wanted to bring up?
I do, Mrs. Freshy. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mrs. Prisco.
I have 2 things that I would like to discuss during discussion items. First is Mr. Allworth. Tim, it's your last meeting. I just want to say thank you for your 3 years. Thank you for running with me and we ran well together, and I value you and our friendship that we've built over the 3 years. I'm glad that we became together through this process. I wish you all the best. You will definitely be missed. I'm not sure if you will miss us, but I will miss you.
Whatever will you do on every
And
other Tuesday?
my other item that I would like to just comment on, report out on, which people are here for this evening, and is 45 Lemons. And I myself personally, as a board member, as a resident, as a dedicated person to this township, I feel it is my obligation to apologize to everyone. I listened to the presentation by 45 Lemons, and I was very impressed with what they presented to us. I read their proposal, and I was impressed with what they presented. However, I did not do what some residents did, and I apologize. You elected me only a month ago, and I could have done better. I'm here to tell you I will do better. Unfortunately, it's not really my role, our role as board members, to look up people's social media. However, I would have done it if it was my own child. I watch my child's Instagram, social media accounts. And when I see something I don't like on there, I make sure it gets taken down. as a board, whoever we hire for this district going forward, I am demanding that we research and put more time and effort into who is coming in to work with our children. Whether it's researching a Google search, Twitter, any social media aspect, we need to do our homework. We need to do the best for Verona. So I apologize, and I will do my best going forward. Thank you.
Mrs. Prisco, for your comments. And it is, like I had said earlier, there were missteps, there's course correction. We're listening to everybody, lesson learned, dig deeper, and that's what we're all here for. We're all learning as we go along. So thank you for addressing it on behalf of the board. I appreciate it. Mr. Allworth, to you, 3 years. I feel like it flew by. It's been a very eventful 3 years. So thank you for your service. It's not easy work. It takes time away from your family and your own life. It's dedication and it's hard work. So thank you very, very much. You will be missed. And come January, we'll do our reorganization. We'll have a new board member up here and we will continue to move forward and learn together, and the dynamic changes and it's new for everybody. So we will bid you farewell tonight and then welcome the new come January. And I do want to do, we have a retirement that I wanted to acknowledge is Mrs. Gizzy down at HBW, the administrative assistant. I worked with her when I was a paraprofessional at HB, and her welcoming smile every day walking into the middle school was really a joy. I did send her a personal note thanking her, and I wish her well in her retirement. And I want to thank our head custodian, Mr. Carmen, who's retiring from FM Brown, for his work and dedication to the district as well. We're really fortunate for the people that are here, and they really wrote really beautiful retirement letters to us. So it's really just nice to acknowledge them at a meeting. And is there any other discussion?
So only from my, just wanted to add that with our retirees, we'll be honoring any of our retirees at the end of the year formally. And we will certainly include those that are retiring at midpoint of the year. So the service of those who dedicate their time and their talent to the district is very much appreciated, and we want to wish them well.
I too want to bid Tim a farewell. When I decided to run, I think your words are, yeah, it's not bad. It's fine. You'll be fine. So I blame you. But I really have enjoyed working with you, collaborating with you. You've been a wonderful voice of reason, moderate voice of reason for this board, and I appreciate that. And, you know, I've known you a very long time, and I appreciate our friendship and our collaborative efforts, and I look forward to working with you again in the future. I too want to wish Mrs. Gizzy a happy retirement. Although we are new to HB, as many of you know, administrative assistants are what keep the building running. Without them, school would be fun. Thank you to Ms. Gizzy for her service. My last comment is in regards to 45 Lemons. So work on diversity and equity and inclusion doesn't have to be a divisive issue. Okay, I just feel like I want to say that again. It doesn't have to be a divisive issue. If we can truly listen to each other and always put the needs of our students, not political agendas that we hold dear, but the needs of our students in front of everything that we do, we can really be successful with this. But that requires truly listening. That requires listening to people who think very, very different than you, who may say things that offend you. And that requires listening to them and trying to see the world through their perspective. Asking them questions, having discussions. Why do you feel that way? What experiences do you have that make you feel that way? And I feel like as adults, we have a really hard time doing that. Our students do not. They have stood here at that podium telling us what their perspective is, what their experiences are. So I listen to them first. I want to hear what their voice is first in this work. And I, like Ms. Prisco and Mrs. Fresky said, I was really excited when 45 Lemons was here presenting to us. Yes, we need somebody with the utmost professionalism guiding this work for us. We are a school district. We have a huge responsibility here. And we have extraordinary expectations of whoever we choose to help guide us through this work. But the work starts right here. It starts with listening to one another with civility and respect, and understanding that every single person in this room has had a very, very different experience in their life. And withholding your judgment and withholding your bias and acknowledging the bias that you automatically have when someone opens their mouth to speak. So as we move into public comment after our resolutions, I do ask the public, when you're speaking, to be civil and be respectful to each other and try to understand and see where each person is coming from in their life, because you don't know what somebody else is going through. You don't know what their experiences are. And if you don't agree with them, seek them out. Talk to them. Have a conversation. You might learn something.
So excuse me, if no yelling from the,
We're not doing this.
we're gonna shut. Do you want to take a recess?
I was waiting for the person who was laughing to stop laughing so we could all have a conversation together.
You know what?
Civility, please, civility. Civility.
No
This is
yelling
civility.
from, I'm gonna call a recess. Can I have a motion for a recess?
So moved.
I need a second motion. We're gonna just take a 5-minute break. Can I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Jaffe, second by Mrs. Prisco. We're gonna take a 10-minute recess and then we'll be back. Okay, so I need a motion to approve resolutions number 1 through 18.
So move.
Moved by Mrs. Drappi. Second by Mrs. Prisco. And Mr. Cruz, can you please do the roll call for resolutions?
Sure. Mr. Alworth,
Yes.
Mrs. Drappi,
Yes.
Mrs. Fresky,
Yes.
Mrs. Prisco.
Yes.
We have quorum, motion passed.
Thank you. And then I have we have addenda resolutions, number 1 through 3. I need a motion to approve resolutions 1 through 3. Moved by Mrs. Prisco,
Second.
second by Mr. Allworth. Is there any discussion? No? If no discussion, Mr. Cruz, can you do the roll call?
Mr. Alworth,
Yes.
Mrs. Drappi,
Yes.
Mrs. Fresky,
Yes.
Mrs. Prisco.
Yes. And for the record, Mr. Day is absent for both.
Yes, Mr. Day is absent on both votes. We have quorum with 4 board members. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So at this point, we are going to open it for public comments. And I do want to ask, I know everybody, tensions are high, and I want to ask that everybody maintains its decorum and to please not shout from your seats. Everybody has an opportunity to approach the podium and speak. We have a 1-hour maximum for public comment, and each person has 3 minutes. You need to please state clearly your name and your address, and we will open that up now, and it is 8:05.
Hi, good evening. Christian Strumolo, 153 Morningside Road. Couple of questions. The DEI committee and the program that you're implementing, is this a mandate from the state? Is it required, or is it something that this district is taken upon to implement?
This is not a requirement of the state of New Jersey. This is something the district put into place as far as its implementation of one of the strands of its strategic plan.
So each district throughout the state, if they feel like adopting this resolution and forming this committee, then they do. If not, the state's not requiring this, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The state is requiring that we include diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives
Correct.
throughout, but not this structure.
Okay, thank you. Next question. In reference to any outside firm that you hire or consultants and so forth, there is practices that are required by the state, and it seems like this district did not follow them. So, for example, what is the threshold to hire an outside consultant or a firm? Is it 40,000 and under? Is it 16,000 and under? Do we have what's called a purchasing agent? Because if you do, then obviously the threshold is lower. And I would be under the assumption that since you have a board attorney that's here every meeting, he probably would have explained to you what your requirements are when it comes to an RFP, RFQ. I mean, you seems like you went backwards. You brought in a firm without even implementing an RFQ or an RFP. You interview them with no bids whatsoever. And then it seems like when you got caught, you're trying to fix it. So did the board attorney in any way, shape, or form explain to you what your requirements are to hire a position like this? Or did the director of curriculum explain, how did it get on the agenda? How did this firm even get in for an interview without following the proper protocol? I mean, you're paying an attorney, I'm sure, $350 an hour minimum. And I mean, did anyone ask any of those questions?
Is that the end of your comments?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
All right, thank you for your comments. We're not having a back and forth discussion, so everybody's taking notes, and we appreciate you coming to the podium.
So you're not going to answer any of my questions? You have a responsibility. You're an elected official. It doesn't make a difference. Excuse me?
Your time
You're
is
not,
up.
you're not a member of the board.
Your time is up.
You
Please
do
sit
not
down.
tell people what to do. You're a paid attorney. You
That's
should have been
correct.
guiding this board in the right direction.
I'm going to ask you one more time, sir.
No, you don't have to ask me one more time. I have 2 minutes, correct?
No, you're done.
What is
You're
the
at-
protocol?
Your
What
3
is-
minutes are over.
Where's the timer? 3 minutes?
Yeah.
And it's by you? So you're not going to answer any of my questions?
Again, it's public comment, not public Q&A.
So how will I get?
I'm
the
not
answers?
going to keep going around. and
How will
around
I
and
get the
around.
answers? Will you email them to me? Should I come to the administration's office and you'll give me them? I don't understand. How do I get my answers from the board? So you have no intentions of answering or even emailing me the answers to my questions? I'm trying to be civil. I don't think I'm asking anything that's inappropriate.
No, you did not ask anything inappropriate. Everybody took
So-
notes. The
All I want is one
the
quick-
proper person, you can come and leave your email address and somebody will get back to you.
That's how you do this? Okay, so I'll email who?
You can leave your email address with
No,
us.
I'll email my
and
questions. Or do you want me to do Oprah's? Is that easier?
You could email Mr. Miller, you could email the board, you could email all of us and we'll send your email to the proper person.
Okay, thank you.
George Kozachek, 100 Morningside Road, Verona. Although it's not a Q&A, you've often answered questions after somebody asked a question, many meetings. So assuming that you can also answer questions if you choose to tonight. So we want to know, how did this fall through the cracks, Charlie? It's all on you. You're the big guy here. You have to step up. You haven't stepped up yet. A couple other people stepped up. You haven't stepped up. We'd like for you to step up and find out what happened. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake. I emailed you. I hear nothing back except go look at the presentation. I looked at the presentation. That's what made me check her. Okay, this is not the person we need to help us. This woman didn't grow up in a racist neighborhood. She became racist. She became a self-proclaimed militant. Didn't take long for me. It took me 5 minutes to find out anything about her. But everybody else here, nobody did anything. The attorney didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. Your other 4 people who get paid on your committee didn't do anything. Please, just own up to it. Also, not very happy with a student that didn't even belong in our school, sat through a whole day of school and nobody noticed it. What the heck is that? I mean, what's really going on? What are you guys paying attention to? You know, you got Sarah up here saying stuff to everybody. We should follow you. We blah, blah, blah. You should do the same thing that everybody else should be doing here. Your due diligence.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
I can take my mask down to speak. Can I take my mask down to speak?
You could take your mask down to speak. Your name and address, please.
Yeah, Maria Scolanti, 6 Belclair Place. I have a prepared statement. I want to thank the board and our superintendent for reversing course on the decision to hire this organization to lead our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives as a consulting firm. I realize that there's a lot of pressure coming from various points of view in the district, and it's difficult to make decisions. Thank you particularly to Ms. Fernari for being receptive and listening to all sides and getting back to us. I appreciate your leadership in this situation and making the tough calls. I want to make a couple of points. Number one, I want to focus on transparency and protocol. I don't believe that the DEI related processes are transparent. While the presentation has a lot of information, it's full of abstract ideas, but the devil is in the details. Part of the reason why there is parent pushback is because we're kept in the dark again and again on what is happening in our children's education. No one's going to support something when they're not part of the decision. Our parental rights must be respected. These are our children, not your children, nobody's children, our children. Please, please, I beg you, I implore you, keep that in mind when making future decisions. Regarding protocol, and this is a big one, because if you don't follow protocol, you put the kids, you put the staff in danger, and you waste precious resources. According to a November 2021 article on NorthJersey.com entitled "Schools Waiting for Guidance on Diversity," and I quote, The State Department of Education has not yet provided guidance or sample lessons on how we do so with regards to DEI in accordance with the law. So why are you squandering $30,000 of taxpayer money on a consulting firm to lead this project for which there are no specifications? Where's the protocol? Also, in terms of protocol and transparency, there is a DEI committee in our school district. Per Mr. Miller, these committees were composed of teachers, administrators, parents, and members of the community, 45 staff members, 47 parents, and community members. My questions: one, first and foremost, who are these members and why is a list not made available? What is the application process for this selection? What is the description, mission, objective, guidelines for this committee? Is it protocol to have members of the committee and possibly non-residents leading directives for our children's education? Again, our children, not yours. Are there background checks? Is there due diligence? Cedar Grove posts all this information online for everyone to see, but it's not available in Verona, and I've requested it, and I have not received it. I need it. Due diligence. I speak for a number of people when I say, you need to do your due diligence on anyone and any organization that comes in contact with our children and our educators. We're entrusting you with our children. These are our children. I cannot stress that enough.
Ma'am.
You need to make decisions to benefit these children.
Ma'am.
I want to end this.
I'm sorry,
We
your 3
need
minutes are
real
up.
leadership. We need real leadership and commitment to transparency. You need to bring us together as
So
our
your 3
leaders
minute, your 3 minutes are up. I'm
minutes are up.
sorry.
and stop
Thank you.
dividing us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Hi, good evening. Sean Haas, 32 West Lincoln Street. First, I'd like to thank Pam for her statement. That meant a lot to all of us. I really do appreciate it. Moving forward, I have one question regarding surveys for our children. Moving forward with any company that we hire, consultant, whomever. According to our district policies, there's supposed to be parental consent concerning surveys for our children. I think some surveys have gone out already, but moving forward, are we going to be notified of these surveys? Are we going to be entitled to see what these surveys are prior to them being issued to our children, whether it be in a classroom or by email? That's my question.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Hi, my name is Chris Barrows, 219 Linden Avenue. It's a completely different topic. I actually wanted to compliment one of the updates that got made. I think it's been fairly quiet, but the website provides a lot more information now. There's a lot more details there, and it's extremely helpful as a parent to see this information. So I wanted to make sure that I called that out and thank you for that. The one thing on my mind was, I don't know if there's a way, and it may not be technical on the back end, but to be able to subscribe to get those updates or something like that would be really great, because I know the opinions of social media can range. Anyone who knows me know I'm very big on social media. I think it could be very positive. It's all how we use it. But that said, when you're looking for an alternative to social media, email can be very effective. So I don't know if that's a possibility, but it was just on my mind. One of the other things that got mentioned tonight also was the gaming club. And I just wanted to compliment whoever's leading that. I don't know, forget who exactly it is, but I think it's just a really great endeavor. Esports is a serious and real thing, and I just think it's important. I myself actually just learned that there is actually a tabletop club in the school somewhere, and as a board game fan, that got me excited that that exists. So some of these were really positive things, and I just thought, again, to bring that idea forward and potential of another way to forward that communication out. And then the last thing, but not least, I wanted to say was just thank you to, I've watched these meetings. I don't always get to attend them. Usually I'm at home. I had a little cup of yogurt for dinner tonight, and that was it because I had to run out and get here. And as I can't always get here, I really appreciate the work that's happening here, in particular, this gentleman right here who's sitting here doing technical work. And I think it's important to call out the tech people. They never get the credit where it's due. So I want to take a moment now to do that and say thank you on behalf of all the parents who do watch at home. We are watching. We can't always jump on, but we do the best we can with dinner time. And I want to say thank you on behalf of those parents. So that was it.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other public comments? If there are no other public comments, we are going to close the public comment section of the meeting. And we are going to adjourn the meeting. It's 8:19. And the next public meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. Confidential session at 5:30. The public session is at 7 PM. It's our reorganization meeting, and we will have the installation of our new board member, Mr. Waka. So everybody have a safe and happy holiday, happy new
Motion.
year, and
We need a
we'll see you in
motion.
January.
Motion.
So
Motion.
I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Mrs. Prisco.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Drappi. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.